This is the new Xfinity or Comcast xFi pod Wi-Fi extender, and this is the second generation. I don't do a lot of unboxing videos, but this thing came just like this in a brown box, no pillow packing, nothing, just bouncing around, and here we go. Take a look at this thing. If you've had them before, the first impression will be this thing is huge. It's a lot bigger than the first generation pods, of which I have 6. Why do I have 6? Because at the time Xfinity said if you had a large house, and my house is 4,000 square feet, you might want that many. I've found through trial and error over the course of 2 years that I did not need 6. I should have bought 3 initially, but I had the 6. And then as I upgraded routers, my coverage got a lot better to the point where I didn't even need the pods anymore. And that's with the XB7 router. You'll be able to see all of the videos I made about the XB7 router and these Wi-Fi pods here at the end of this video. So please watch this to the end and you'll be able to see those just for comparison's sake. But the initial reaction is this thing is big. How big is it? Let's take a look. This is the new one over here. This is the first generation over here. You can see if I hold them together, I mean, substantially larger. I'd say the surface space almost twice as large. The first generation pod has one Ethernet port in the bottom of it. The second generation pod has 2 Ethernet ports in it, so you can have 2 wired devices in here. You can also see in the back of this thing, take a look, you'll see there's a lot of venting on the second generation. Let me hold that up there and hopefully that'll focus. Hopefully that'll focus. That's all venting. The first generation pod has nothing like that. That might lead you to believe that these are probably more powerful, and actually they are. This, the first generation pod, will transmit up to 200 megabits. That's max in an ideal environment. So if you have a Wi-Fi package from Xfinity that's over 200 megabits and you're getting more than that at your router, regardless of how close this is to your router, you will only get 200 megabits maximum out of this extender. In most circumstances, that's just fine and it's adequate, because it's not so much about transmitting the speed, it's about getting the range and the connectivity in areas where service was limited before, or really sketchy, or just kind of in and out. So a lot of people were disappointed in the first generation pods, even though they've been extremely popular, because they said, I'm not getting the speed out of it that I'm getting in my router. It's not about that. It's not supposed to transmit that amount of speed. It's just supposed to get you Wi-Fi coverage where you least have it. And I would say that it was successful in doing that. Also, these pods since March of 2020, the demand has doubled. Guess why? Right? The pandemic, and everybody's at home. They're streaming more. They're working from home. They're watching movies, this and that. And so the demand for these pods has been twice what they were prior to that. Let's get rid of the first generation pod and stop talking about that. Let's talk about this second generation. This thing is huge. Here's the thing. Before, the first generation pods, they sold it in packages of 3 or 6. Okay? The second generation pod, they sell it in packages of 1 or 2. And they're saying that you only need 1 pod if you have a house up to 3 to 4 bedrooms. Okay? So the range on this is supposed to be substantially more than it was before. Also, this will now transmit optimally up to 500 megabits. So it more than doubles the speed that it's putting out that you can connect to over a longer distance in your house. So it sounds like solid upgrades. Number one, you don't need as many. At one time I had 6. I only needed 3, but now I think I'm only going to need 1. And I don't know that I'm actually going to need it. I just bought it because it was cool and I wanted to be able to try it, since the other videos have been so popular about the pod and people are getting good information off it. I thought, well, I'll spend this and get this, get a review going on this. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to connect this to my Wi-Fi network, and I'll show you how that's done in the next video, and I'll go through that process and I'll do a speed test. What I'll do first though is I will connect up a first generation pod, see what kind of speeds I'm getting off of that when I'm connected to it in my office, and then I'm going to remove that completely from my system, the Wi-Fi system, and the router, erase it, and then I'm going to connect the second generation pod to it, and we're going to see, number one, do I get faster speeds in my office, and number two, will those speeds go over 200 megabits? I think people are going to find this really, really advantageous. I got on this because one of my subscribers emailed me and asked me if I was going to do a video on it, and I told him, I said, I didn't even know they were out yet. This is in the beginning of October. So I jumped on Xfinity, I ordered it right away. Currently these are back ordered now, so I've got this one and glad I got it. If you can see the small hole in here, it still has the little light hole. Hard to see. A lot of times until you plug these in, you don't even see it, but that kind of pulses and gives you the status of the pod, and then it goes out completely black once the pod is up and running, and you can check the service level of the pod through the xFi app. So stay tuned. I'm going to get the video done where I set this up and test the speeds. I'll get that done either tonight or tomorrow. But in the meantime, if you found this video interesting or informative, please do me a favor, hit the subscribe button, ring the bell so you get the notification when I put this video up, and I'll see you in the next video.